I fell down a really big rabbit hole yesterday of watching TikToks in bed, and I came across a lot of Indian traveling TikToks. It's a lot of foreign influencers in India showing their experience of traveling. As an Indian American woman myself, I thought it was very interesting. I grew up in India, I went back and forth a lot, but I did have most of my childhood there. So I thought it would be really interesting to see what the perspective of someone that's never been to that country would be like. And I was very disappointed. Now, there are some great travel influencers that talk about things that you should know and where you should travel to, what are the best accommodations, apps. Apple Pay doesn't really work there. I saw a lot of people mention that. But then there's other people that we will kind of get into talking about today that monetize off of the stereotypes that are put on Indian people and India as a country, and I thought I would share that with you today. The main person we're going to be talking about today is Lily. She is a very beautiful woman. She traveled to India recently and she documented that process. She made a lot of TikToks because she's very, she posts a lot on there, very active on there. I thought, why don't we go through these TikToks together and maybe you could help point out where I might have a problem with it, or the other Indian people on the platform might feel a little bit offended by the content she's making. Okay, let's watch one more. Let's give her a chance, right? Maybe it was just one post. Maybe it was just, one thing that happened. Okay, so she has a lot of these, right? She made, I think someone in the comments said that she made 30 videos like this about her in India, and that's okay. You can make content about you traveling. I did. That's one of the first videos I put up on my channel was me moving to Korea, and I totally get it. Like, it's important, it's educational, it's fun to travel and post about all of that. I think the issue that a lot of people had, me included, was the whole concept of, oh, I'm considered so attractive in India because I'm simply a white woman. Now, this isn't just specific to India. I've seen a lot of travel influencers go to Korea and do that as well, where they're like, oh, white woman and Korean men, or white woman traveling in Korea or Asian country. And it gets a lot of attention. And if you're putting in the work for it, all right. I just don't really get using your race to profit off of what you're doing. Also, the whole concept of being like, I'm a 10 in India because I'm a white woman, whereas I'm a 2 anywhere else, is kind of crazy. People are looking at you, because you're a foreigner. Like, everyone around you does not look like you. We tend to not have pale skin, blue eyes, and be blonde. That's just not something you see every day.
You look a little desi. Are you really Russian? Delhi se hoon, bhanchod.
She also made a video of her on her flight there and zoomed in on the people on the plane who are just kind of minding their business. You're sitting there waiting for everyone to board. You are going to look at people, but she decided to use that to kind of boost her ego in a way.
Anyway, so
the issue that a lot of people have with this is it feeds into the narrative of Indian people are unattractive and Indian men are creepy, right? That's kind of what she's feeding into. With the whole Indian men being creepy part, people everywhere can be creeps, right? It is an issue everywhere. I've had experiences in Korea, I've had experiences here. It is a universal thing, right? Unfortunately, it is something that people go through everywhere, and it isn't specific to a certain race. You can't be like, this race entirely is creepy. I'm not saying that she said that, but the videos that she posts does kind of feed into that narrative and that stereotype that already exists. if you do go to her page, you will see that she does have certain videos addressing being essayed, right? She talks about how she went to India and she unfortunately was touched inappropriately. I'm trying to figure out what the right words to use for this would be. Touched inappropriately by a man that was just walking on the street and she was just standing there filming content, right? Absolutely disgusting. Never should have happened. I saw people being really disgusting and saying that it was because of what she was wearing and you can't wear stuff like that when you visit India. No, that's not it. What you're wearing is not an excuse. Yes, we have certain things and certain ways we dress. We tend to be more of a modest society, but that doesn't give anyone the excuse to come and like grab you. So just if you do visit her page or if you do choose to talk about her, keep in mind that this did happen to her and it's not okay. It doesn't excuse the way that she has been making content about the country and monetizing off of the country, but it's also not okay to victim blame her and tell her that, oh, what happened to you is invalid because you make content like this. She's still a person, so please just be considerate of that. One TikToker did call her out in particular and was like, hey, you're a foreign traveling influencer traveling to India and making the country look bad. You guys need to stop. And they tagged her in it and she made a response.
Lean back, act like don't get up and do something. Get up and do something. I'll stop.
So I was tagged in this video multiple times, so I thought I would come on here and finally address the situation. I was essayed by one man while I was in India. I would never lie about something as serious as essay, and I think anybody who does is disgusting. I'm not, and I have never accused anyone who was ever staring at me in any one of my videos as harassing me, and I genuinely don't even know where that's come from. All I was doing was filming my experience in India, and aside from this one man, I absolutely loved my time in India and had nothing but a positive experience. Anyone who was staring at me or got a photo with me was always super respectful and really polite, minus this one guy. I never would have got photos with all of those people if I ever felt uncomfortable or felt like I was putting myself in a bad situation. Anyone claiming that I thought that by people staring at me that was assault, or if anyone thinks that there's any racial motivation behind any of my videos, I genuinely think that you're projecting your own views of a country that you've probably never even been to before, and if you have been, then I have no idea why you're taking my videos so far out of context. Anyone who has supported me and actually understands my videos, thank you and I love you.
Get exactly what she's saying, right? She's saying, I never went out there saying that Indian people are bad. I never said that. I was uncomfortable by the looks people were giving me. I had my experience there that was good, and then I also had an experience with one man in particular that was bad, right? That's understandable, but also, girlie, you're making content like this. That kind of brings into the whole concept of, okay, well, you are uncomfortable, you do hate the attention, but then you also use that attention you're getting as a way of saying that you are great looking, or that you're famous in India, or that people fawn over you. And it is kind of problematic. Like, what are you doing, girl? What are you doing? And with clothing, right, as we addressed, there is certain things that aren't exactly the most modest for Indian society, right? It isn't that, oh, if you wear that, something's gonna happen to you. It's more of, it just isn't the way our culture is. It's just not the things that we wear. And as someone that is coming in from the outside, maybe being more careful about respecting the traditions and the culture and the way that we live would maybe be more respectful for you to do, just overall. There were thousands of comments of people being very racist, but also a lot of people being like, hey, we are a modest society, maybe you should dress a little bit more modest, you know, maybe kind of respect the culture a little bit more.
Not my problem, that's just not my problem.
And the thing is, she's not the only one, right? There's a lot of travel influencers that go and make this type of content about India. And it's okay to talk about your experience. It's okay to say, hey, this happened to me, or I felt uncomfortable because people stare at me. That's okay to say, and it's okay to talk about those things. But also when you make content that, in a way, even if it's not explicitly said, feeds into the stereotypes or feeds into this feeling of India's not a safe or good place to be. It is a problem. You are the problem when you're doing stuff like that. There are also a lot of racist comments under her videos that she never addresses. She doesn't delete them, she doesn't report them, she doesn't address them saying, hey, don't say stuff like that about this country that I'm visiting. I've had a decent experience. I know that she did go through some really awful stuff, and I want to say again, please do not use that or bring up that experience she had in order to push her down or hold her accountable for what she's done. Address the other things she's done. Leave that part alone. If anything, have empathy for her with that, because it is very difficult to go through. Just be careful with what you say and how you address things, okay? But I am falling down a rabbit hole of seeing all of these travel influencers go to India, and I found some great people. I also have unfortunately found a lot of awful people, so maybe I'll talk about them more. Let me know what you think. Is this type of content problematic, or do you think I'm overreacting and we're kind of getting upset over something that isn't that serious? But yeah, until next time.